Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Coffee Club Podcast, episode 96. This is the Coffee Club Pod on the road, and boy, a lot has happened in 1 week since we last recorded. I think today George and I have talked, and it'll be a kind of shorter one. If you've seen the video version, you can already tell that one of our members is not here, unfortunately. We're sure all you guys have been following on the social media. Olli, unfortunately, he did talk about it a little bit last week, and we all knew it was a bit of an issue, but we all had kind of at that point the best hopes that things would be fine. But unfortunately, his pelvis stuff got a bit worse, and a crazy whirlwind. We're not going to talk about it too much, but he's on the plane back to America today.
Yeah, our strongest soldier has fallen. We'll leave Ollie to fill you guys in more next week, hopefully. He's mentioned he's still keen to be open about it on the pod, but yeah, we shot for the stars with the trifecta, and we came up short.
You think it's our fault? We jinxed it? No.
Yeah, it's a prick of a sport. It really is. I feel like I've fallen into the trap in the last couple of years, probably, of talking about Ollie, as if he's invincible. That's kind of always the aura he kind of projects, and it was so impressive to all of us, the things he could do, and just was always felt like he was invincible, and he's human like the rest of us, and tough way to find out.
Yeah, the timing is really hard, right before race and being on training camp halfway across the world, not the road, and then having to fly back after being here for a couple of days. But yeah, we'll get into it more next week, because he'll definitely want to reflect on it and kind of explain what he's gone through. But yeah, so Ollie's not here today, unfortunately, so George and I will carry the load for this one, and I think it'll be a little shorter, because but we still got to put out an episode and keep the show going. So yeah, this is episode 96.
Show goes on.
The show goes on. Bro, we're pretty close to that 100 number.
I was just looking at that.
97. That's gonna be
4 weeks
Worlds.
from now.
A week after Worlds, maybe. No, that's
just smack bang in the middle of Worlds.
So
seems like.
Yeah.
If our maths checks out.
I'm sure we'll be there before we
could do 99. 99.5 just so that we're all together.
Yeah, we have to be together for 100.
I think we might just have to do 0.5s, or we just fly Ollie out. Another option. True.
We can see we don't know what's going to be happening, so we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, I guess.
Yeah.
But we do have another bean shout out today, a quick one for the boys from Mirror Coast Manhattan Beach, which I guess is a school in Manhattan Beach, LA. 5 of them. See, there's a lot of names of this bag. They came up to me after the sound running meet in LA and said what's up, gave them some stickers, and handed us a bag of beans, which we're enjoying right now. So thank you very much for that. And once again, this episode is presented by Camelback. Ad read begin.
Week 4 of just an incredible month brought to you by Camelback.
The most hydrated month of my life, probably.
No doubt. Honestly, I don't know if I just wasn't drinking water before, but bottle has been life-changing. Also, Joe was telling me that part of your circadian rhythm is having to piss at the wrong time. No shit, I've been waking up twice in the middle of the night because I have to take a piss. Very inconvenient, but very hydrated thanks to the Camelback bottles.
It's a net positive.
Which have made it to Switzerland.
Yeah, they've gone across the world. I don't know, we're probably not the first one to ever take a Camelback from the United States to Europe, but it feels good to have them with us and know that they made the long journey.
We're the first to document it.
Yeah, it's been documented here on the show. They can be done,
So if you want a bottle like ours, or a mug, or something else sweet that they make, Coffee Club, all caps, 20% off. Link is working?
Link is working, and it's we had a couple of issues with it, but it seems like actually everything's pretty good. So it should be working on the US site, the Oz site, I think the Europe site, maybe the New Zealand site. So Yeah, it should be working all good. And if it doesn't, just message us and we'll help sort you out. And yeah, that's it. We've got a little giveaway happening this week. So if you're listening to this episode right when it drops, get on our Instagram and check it out. And you can win some free Coffee Club X Camelback collab gear, which is George's bottle right here.
It's really sweet.
So yeah, but without further ado, I guess it's time to get into it. And last week's episode was so epic because, well, it's the trifecta.
It was.
It was the trifecta, the preview of the trifecta. And we have to give a shout out to, I think, Jack, Lane 1 Graphics on Instagram, who made us like the sickest graphics for each race. And like on the bottom, he had like a reference to like the big trifecta. We were calling it the Coffee Club Long Weekend. We were racing Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So there was all this build up and it was epic. I mean, George got it started off on the right foot. And just on the graphics, I don't know if we can still do it now, but I had all these dreams and aspirations of making it into like these cool posters. I think we'll still maybe make a lot of those graphics into like a set of postcards or something after the season as like mementos kind of. But I really wanted to, in my mind, I was like, all right, all of us are going to run amazing times and we're going to win all our races. And then we'll put the graphics up and we'll put the results of all our races on it. And then we'll like auction it off for like charity or something. And it'll just be like the coolest thing ever. But
it would still be sweet to do something. I'd love to have a memento of the race from that. Yeah.
I think that's
epic work by Jack. Thanks, bro.
I think that's the type of stuff that in our new future studio we'll be decorating our walls, hopefully.
Yeah, that's true.
So
should we go in chronological order again?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's start with
Monaco, the big one, or the high roller one. I was thinking when I was there, it's like, I don't know if that's the thinking that they have for like the Monaco F1. It's not actually any different, but because it has the word Monaco in it, it makes it like seem like this like
it's a brand.
Yeah, it's like just a brand.
Yeah,
where it's actually really not any different.
Yeah,
but still quite cool and definitely a bucket list race and place to get to.
Yeah.
And did we record before we even left?
Yeah,
we did, right?
We recorded before we left, and one thing that we did is we all went through our kind of race week, like what we do on our race week, like leading into a race. So the thing that was really interesting with you is that you were traveling to Europe from America, like relatively close to the race.
That's right.
So yeah, how did that end up feeling?
Yeah, I went for the shortest time to race off travel that I've attempted before. I went 3 days before Stockholm, and I went just 48 hours before this one, and it felt pretty good, honestly, off the plane. I think one of like the important things we do after we travel is we call it like a decompression lift from Jason. So I don't even know how to describe it really, but go to the gym and do like a couple of exercises that decompress your spine. And something like they're just like to get the travel out. Like it's a few isometrics and like some things like a dead hang, and like
I think the dead hang is kind of the exercise that explains like the overall point of the lift the most. You just hang from a bar like straight and you just let your body try to lengthen back out.
I reckon that can work wonders. I think like getting off the plane and jogging a little bit. I jogged on the Max Verstappen Lewis Hamilton selfie trail. I don't know if anyone follows like those Formula 1 drivers, they like jog along this stupid little path in Monaco and take selfies, and Max normally wears like vapor flies.
Really? I've never even seen that before.
I think Lewis runs along there a bunch because he just live there.
Okay, this is like a really random reference which might be completely off. Do you remember in season 1 of Drive to Survive when it was all talking about Daniel Ricciardo choosing if he wanted to stay with Red Bull or if he wanted to leave? And in this show, they showed him like going for a run and then jumping off kind of like a cliff into water. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
That's going deep into the archives.
It's such a random reference. But I was going to wonder.
Monaco?
Well, that's what I was asking. I was wondering if it's on that same trail. So we'll have to check. It could
easily be.
We'll have to check.
There are that is the thing. The hotel for Monaco is sweet. It's right on the water, which is also right next to the track, which is also on the water, and right next to this beach that you can walk to, and kind of like this rocky trail. Actually, one thing I was glad about getting there 48 hours early is I would not want to be in Monaco any longer from a training standpoint. Yeah. I couldn't imagine having to run more than like, I ran like 20 minutes along that path, and that was like maxing out.
That was too much.
The rest of my runs I did either around the track or around the turf field. So not a great training environment, but very cool for a couple of days, and just epic water to jump in off the rocks, like along this path. Which
is also the other hack, I think, for helping your body
True.
Feel good after traveling and stuff.
Yeah. I ran at like 8 p.m. and then jumped in the ocean.
Did you get good sleep?
Did I get good sleep? Medium. I wouldn't say it was a highlight over the trip.
Sleeping, because I'm just thinking right now. I don't know if it's coming across on the through the mic, but I'm in zombie mode right now because I got to Europe like 3 days ago, and I've just been so jet lagged. So I was thinking about it today, and like yesterday, I was like, I could not imagine like having a race right now. Because I just feel terrible.
Well, skipping forward before I go back to the actual race, when I got here, I might have had like the best sleep of my life the first night here, after no sleep the night after the race. And it was freaking hot in Monaco the whole time. It was like 90s during the day, like mid 30s, high 30s, I don't even know what that is. And then it would barely cool down at night, and it was so humid. Like I would go swimming and like have like put my wet shorts like out on the thing to dry, and I just brought them to San Moritz wet. They just
that
never,
is annoying.
I think once I went swimming, got my hair wet, I don't think it dried for 3 days. It was just the rest of the trip. It was insane. So that didn't help the sleeping.
Yeah, I heard that you weren't allowed to have your AC on.
I wasn't sure if I was going to bring that up.
Yeah. Do you want to explain that story?
There's just a well-known phenomenon in the track world that Kenyans and Ethiopians don't like AC.
They don't believe in it.
It's just the reality. I guess they're not used to it, and they have no problem with the heat, and so they're very comfortable in a very hot room. And I was rooming with the legend himself, Hagos Gebrewet, winner of the 5K actually, and so there was not a lot of AC going on for those 3 days, which
I can't imagine sleeping in that. I'm such a pussy when it comes to sleeping in like a warm room, so I cannot imagine it being that hot and no AC allowed.
Yeah.
Did you try to like turn it on, or was it like no?
I would turn it on every now and then, and like maybe just try to put the fan like on low, see if he would notice. But he spent a lot more time in there than me. He would just sleep all day. That's the secret to running 12:42. Just sleep constantly. And so I would like go out and do something, go swimming or hang out with Reds or something, and then I'd come back and it would be off.
Yeah. It's funny that you say that's the secret, because when we talk about Helen Obiri, that's also the thing that we say. And it's one of those things though where I mean, we know it's really good for you, but we still don't do it.
She's taking her first nap of the day by 9 a.m.
Yeah, I was like, I understand that if I only ran and napped, it would be ideal for my running, but I'm not going to do that. It sounds ridiculous.
Yeah. Shit.
Maybe that's just the difference.
How do we make that happen?
That's the difference maker.
Yeah, so I guess sleep mediocre, but I think the water made up for it, and I just had quite good travel, and yeah, feeling good enough to make something happen. Yeah, no, happy with the decision to go in 48 hours before, and yeah. And what else did we do?
And then race day rolls around.
Yeah, very late race, not till 9:30. So another one of those just long freaking days hanging around a meet hotel.
Did you watch something?
I did. Oh, I watched the tour that was on still.
That's a good way to kill some time.
Yeah, and it was in the afternoon because I was in Europe, so that was actually ideal. And then it was funny. The warm up turf was connected to the hotel. It was like you went up like 2 levels in the hotel, and then you were on the turf.
That is extremely convenient.
So everything very convenient.
What time did you get to the race then? You just roll in like an hour before.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just rolled up to the turf. Spent kind of spent the weekend with Big Bird a lot. So warmed up with the man himself, steeple legend, and yeah, it actually was feeling, by the time it goes dark there, it does start feeling quite good. Like race temperature was still 29 degrees, 85 or something. But without the sun, it actually was feeling pretty decent. And prior to this, Elbakali had dropped out, and so had Wale, who are, aside from Gurma, I think they're number 1 and 2 ranked steeplechasers in the world. So, dude, for a minute I was like, yeah, I can freaking win this race.
Yeah, go for the dub.
They were like, I mean, those two, and Elbakali especially, like, have the aura of being pretty unbeatable, and he hasn't lost a race in a couple of years or something. And so without those two, and we were talking about, like, you know, it's kind of wide open after that. Turned out the rest of the guys were still pretty good.
Yeah, still some pretty good runners that turned up there.
So I didn't win, but yeah, I got stuck in pretty early and tried to put myself in the top 4 or 5.
That's got to be like by far the fastest you've gone through like the first half of the race.
I honestly think 2:43 was exactly what I ran in Stockholm.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think the splits were really similar at that point.
So what was the difference then?
The last K, maybe? I don't know. Actually, I haven't looked at the splits enough. But we went something like 2:43 and then 2:47, 2:43 again. So, yeah, it was one of those ones where I kind of just finally, it did get quite hard in the middle. Like, I felt a lot better than in Stockholm, and I just realized with 4 laps to go in the steeple, it's hard to keep running 64s, 65s.
Yeah.
And
especially with those freaking barriers in the way.
Yeah, that's just hard to keep clicking along, even though it's not, you know, it's not that fast, but bunch of barriers, bunch of water jumps. Yeah, it got hard. The water was like a bath. The first jump, it was like heated.
It was like steamy.
Yeah, it gave me a bit of a shock there.
Yeah.
But yeah, really made a go for it the last. Honestly, I probably waited to the last lap. I think it was something like 67, 67, 68, 61 for like the last 4 laps. So
bring it home.
It was getting hard, but I was sick of running 8:17 basically after Nice and Stockholm. And, you know, I said in the last episode, you know, if you can't run faster than Monaco, you know, where can you? So I was like, shit, I better not.
It's put a lot of pressure on yourself.
I was gonna be pretty pissed. So yeah, had a really good last lap actually. Caught maybe three people and ended up 5th in a pretty good field still, even though it didn't have Elbakali and those guys, and actually only the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th places were only they all ran 8:10ish, I think. So, you know, not too far back from those guys. Obviously, the guy that won, I think he ran 8:04. I think it's like his first race at sea level. He's the guy that ran like 18 or 19 in Nairobi.
Is he super young?
Super young, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looked really freaking good. So, yeah, well, that was a nice welcome to the
Kenya's back.
World. Yeah.
Do you remember not that long ago that Kenya were unbeatable in the steeple, and it wasn't even just they would win; they would get like their thing was getting top 3 in like every like Olympic world champs. They would get top 3.
I just rewatched Matt Hughes's Gold Coast steeple.
Yeah,
where I didn't know what was happening at the end. It was devastating. He got outleaned for a medal. And I think the commentators were saying that Kenya had gone 1, 2, 3 at the Com Games for like some ridiculous amount of Commonwealth Games in a row.
Yeah,
they
was
just go
their
1, 2,
event.
3 like every time.
Like that was their thing.
Yeah, I think until Elbakali won the Olympics, it was like Kenya just every time for so long. Yeah, they dominated it.
So
yeah, they're back at least for top 2 guys with Kenyan and Monaco. But yeah, honestly, although it wasn't, I kind of had in my mind that I felt like high 8.0s was doable. You know, 8.08 to 8.10 was kind of in the back of my mind as something that was possible, but I still very happy to come away with an Oceania record.
Oceania record, Olympic standard as well.
Yeah, true.
So
I forgot about
you're
that.
sitting pretty now.
Yeah, getting in the
That's
Olympic
gonna feel
standard
good.
the year before is a nice feeling.
Yeah. And it is still just a nice progression your way down to, it'd be nice to just pop off and go sub 8:10, but still a big jump. The difference between 8:17 and 8:13 is quite large.
I think it is, honestly, for the number of people running high 18s compared to low 18s. I think it does.
So
yeah, it does go down pretty quick there. And it felt like I've run a lot of steeples this year, probably more than most people in a normal season. Like, I think that was my 6th steeple, but quite a nice progression. And I felt like I needed to run a lot to kind of catch up to people that have been doing it for a few years. And now not doing another one till Worlds. If that wasn't clear.
So you feel comfortable calling yourself a steepler now?
I wouldn't go that far.
Not yet. See how Worlds goes.
Yeah. No, I keep getting asked, like, if I enjoy the steeple or something. Like, I just saw Sean McGordy in the gym a couple of days ago, who obviously tried the steeple a couple of years ago, and he was like, are you enjoying it? And I had to stop for a second. I was like, am I? Yeah,
Come
you know
on.
what? I said, I was like, well, I enjoy it more in Stockholm and Monaco than at Mount Sac Relays in April.
Fair enough.
That's for sure.
Hey,
so
if you're coming 4th and 5th at the Diamond League running Oceania records, it's going to feel pretty good.
I have had more fun in the last couple.
Yeah.
The last lap was pretty fun. Like, this is one where I actually just tried to hammer the last water jump, and I came up on my bad leg for it took the first 6 on the leg that I prefer, but I was just like trying to sprint this last lap, and my bad leg came up, and I was just like, oh fuck.
You send it
and just sent it, and that's like almost the better way for your bad leg to come up when you're like going fast.
Just like muscle it out.
Yeah, and it was pretty fun actually.
Hell
so yeah.
Well,
didn't get to the casino after though. Sorry
bad
to announce.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
Didn't see any of the other famous what are they called? Monegascans? I guess none of the famous people that we know of in Monaco are actually native, except for Charles Leclerc. But,
apparently they were gambling with Lance Armstrong last year at the casino.
I remember hearing something about that.
Which is just
the funniest
ridiculous.
story ever. Yeah.
But no, we're just had a late night gelato on the street.
Hey, that's a good way to celebrate.
Which was good enough.
Oceania
They'll leave something
record.
else to do next year.
Well, congratulations. It was hype. I was actually doing my pre-meet like exactly while you were racing. So I was like doing 200s, then I'd come back and pop in and see the live stream and stuff. And so it was pretty sick to see. And yeah, crazy Monaco me. I mean, your race was amazing. The women's mile was just the craziest thing ever. It's weird because like Faith's time is the same time equivalent as her 1500, so it does make sense. But
wait, like on the points table or something?
Essentially, like
really?
If you're going to convert them, like I think 407 was like 350 for a 1500, and I think she ran 349 for the 1500. But
that is what I ran, and I ran 349 in high school.
Yeah.
And when I like came to the US and no one knew what that meant, I feel like the people at NA were like telling me that was like a 407 mile.
Yeah. But for some reason, seeing that race and just the fact that someone could run a world record in the mile of like 5 seconds makes like that. And it's Sifan Hassan's world record. Like that seems to just blow
I feel like it wasn't a weak world record.
It didn't feel like it.
Didn't seem like it, yeah.
And then it got broken by, you're running over a second quicker per lap. Like that's just unreal. And then a slew of other amazing results.
8 national records, I think, in one race.
Just one of those races. I mean, that's the way it goes. Same deal. Like the other big 1500s this year. Like everyone, when one person is doing that stuff, generally the rest of the field also does amazing. But yeah, that was just mind blowing to see that result. I could not believe it. So Monaco is still Monaco.
It's still fast. Surely they have to go back to a men's 15 now that Faith has the world record in the mile. Like the women's ones got both world records. Surely we go back to they're kind of at a men's 15 for like
I think it's
3
COVID.
years maybe.
I think COVID, yeah. I think that's kind of what changed things up.
Yeah.
So yeah, and a freaking amazing men's 5K as well there.
As they all have been this year somehow.
Which, yeah, you wouldn't really think. I mean, you would think it's maybe a little bit hot for the men's 5K, but those guys I think are so fit that it seems to not really affect them as much.
It seems to not matter. Mo told me he was cooking.
He felt
real hot.
Yeah, it's one of those things. But yeah, so anything else from Monaco?
Not much else to add.
Hell yeah.
No, I'd go back. It's a good time.
All right, hopefully one day we can do the trifecta where all three of us are just racing in Monaco together. I think that'd be the dream.
Yeah, I'd love for some more steeple and 15s to line up.
Has that not happened? Yeah.
It was maybe in Rabat. We could have done it, but like most of them, they seem to like not go together.
And so that brings us then to LA.
Part 2 of the trifecta.
Part 2 of the trifecta. One day later, taking the trip back to America. I mean, my whole scenario was, compared to you, was just so easy. Just going to LA, just like a 90-minute flight. And it was just Cinter and I racing there. And then we had Coach Kelsey there, and then Colin doing the filming as well. And like we were in like a nice Airbnb and stuff. So it was just like, those trips are they're the easiest trips. Like everything feels so low maintenance. It's just like so chill, especially sound running. Like we were just like turned up, did our pre-meet. We just like ate good food. Well, like where our Airbnb was in like Silver Lake in LA was just like so perfect next to all this nice food and stuff. So
good coffee.
Good, pretty solid coffee. Like, well, definitely very good coffee. I mean, we were kind of like a bit lazy some of the days, and I think it was a bit of a scenario where you could walk a little bit further to get much better coffee. But some of the days we couldn't be bothered to do that. But there was like like the good chains, like Intelligentsia, La Colombe, how you say it? And I think they were pretty good there. The like, I don't know what you call them. They're like the fancy chains of coffee. Pretty reliable though.
Solid value for miles walked.
Yeah. So everything was feeling good going into the race. And I mean, my goal, I was like, I mean, this is what I talked about last week, where there was the internal struggle between, like, if you had asked me 3 weeks or 4 weeks before the race, I was like, if I run under 13:30, I'll be happy. And then going into the race, I always start, like, even without trying, like, it's like subconscious. I'm like mentally pumping myself up. I'm like, you know, like you could win this race. It's not even like pumping myself up as much as maybe it's like daydreaming. It's like daydreaming about like going and doing something amazing, but then it's like you got to balance that with the reality of your situation and like your form and stuff, and not to do anything silly. And so I had a couple of really good talks with Dathan going into the race, where he essentially told me, based on my training, that he didn't think I should try run too many laps under 64. And because we weren't sure exactly what the pace was going to be, because there was a bunch of guys in that race that were trying to qualify for Worlds, essentially, whether it was hit the standard or run well enough to increase their rankings. Like Ben Flanagan was there for that reason, Sam Parsons, and then the Stanford boys, Kai Robinson, Charles Hicks. I guess Charles is Bauman now, and then Kieran from Bauman. So I think like it was a combination of trying to just like get a good performance for rankings, but then I think like Charles Hicks, I think he probably would have needed to hit the time. And I know Kai, like they wanted 13:07 pace. Like they wanted the standard.
Yeah, I feel like that was on the docket beforehand, at least.
Yeah,
it's hard to tell who was the one asking for it and who was actually gonna make it happen, but it was on there.
It was so funny because the Timman boys were pacing, which thank you for doing that, and also Austin Dalquist. So it was 3 Boulder boys taking the pace, and before the race, there was kind of talk where they had been told 13:07 pace by the meet. So by Jesse, because I think that's just like the qualifying time. But then before it, like Joan, the Timman coach, was kind of like, I think we're just going to run like 13:15 pace or 13:20 pace. Like, are you cool with that? I'm like, hell yeah. Like, I would love that. Like, I don't think I can run any quicker than that. But then like, that was like maybe like 40 or 30 minutes before the race. And then like, I think 10 minutes before the race, they asked like the Stanford boys, and they were like, we want 13:07 pace. So then like, oh, okay, we're going to try run 13:07 pace. But you still like never really know how that stuff is going to play out. And so once the race got going, it was a little bit slower than that, like 63, 64s. But then on like the third or fourth lap, there was a bit of a speed up. I think it was like a 62 or something. And I just like couldn't go with it. Like, I mean, I could have gone with it, but it just did not feel comfortable for my legs. Like, I think at this point I have a decent idea of like how it should feel, like running a 5K on like your legs. Because fitness wise, like I felt great, but my legs were the thing that, I mean, just based on like the training and the comeback and everything, like they just aren't used to running that pace for that many laps. And so it was kind of just like, I was just like hanging on. And then I don't know if did you get to see a video of the race? So you would have seen I was just in no man's land for like, I guess literally until the end. It was like from lap 4, I was like 20 meters off the guys in front. And then the gap wasn't really growing. Like I think at times it got maybe a little bit more, and then at times maybe a little smaller. But I just couldn't run any faster than that. Or I just knew like that was my pace. And that was very frustrating because, you know, it's just so much more difficult to run on your own. But at the same time, it was just like all I could do. And so I was definitely happy with it. And I got
What was your 3K split?
That's a great question. I wouldn't have.
I know they were like 8, right on 8 flat, I think.
They were 8 flat. I bet you I was only like 3 or 4 seconds behind them, maybe 8 or 5. So, I mean, that's probably what I thought I should have gone through, like if you had asked me before going into it. And I got a few questions after it, like, did you think that you were going to catch them? And mostly no, I would say, because I mean, this is how it is a lot of the time when you go into a race. You think of people like well, me at least, you think of people in like a very optimistic way. So I'm thinking of all the guys that are in the pack in front of me, and I'm like, these are all like amazing runners. They're all going to crush it today. Like I don't expect any of them to have an off day.
On their best day, you expect them to speed up.
Exactly.
Once you go through that.
I'm like, this is perfect pace for all those guys. Like they're going to run, like they're going to close a super hard last 2K and they're all going to crush it. But as we know, like that's not how it happens in racing. And I think especially for those that had the collegiate season, well, I guess, I can't remember the guy that came second from FSU. Ahmed. I guess did he have a collegiate season?
Not an outdoor one, I don't think.
Okay. Yeah, because I don't remember seeing him in NCAAs, but he was wearing. He
had really good USAs though.
Yeah. So, but the Stanford boys, I guess they were probably just a bit tired from everything because then they started dropping off.
Kai's had a long season.
He's had, you think back to how well he was doing at World Cross.
Like ran 13:11 in December, then indoors World Cross, NCAAs, double. Yeah, he was at the front after 3K and I think started getting pretty tired. Yeah. And was running not 64s anymore.
Yeah, they started dropping off as well. And
no one was prepared to go around for a while. So you definitely started closing at that point.
That's when I started like sniffing it a little bit, feeling like, oh, I might be catching these guys a bit. And I wasn't like dropping it down. Like I was also like in that 4K running like probably some of my slowest laps, which is like kind of normal, I think, when you're like running on your own in a 5K. But then, yeah, with like, was it Sam Parsons that went around him?
Eventually, yeah.
And so, but then some of them were dropping off. So then, like, in the last 2 laps is when I was really like starting to catch him and start to move through like the field a bit as they dropped off. And I was able to close pretty well, like 63 second last lap and then 57 last lap, I think. And then, yeah, I found my way all the way up to 4th place, 13:24. So I was honestly like now I can easily say like I'm like super, super happy with that. Even at the time I was pretty happy. I wasn't like very disappointed. Like in my head, yeah, I had the daydreams, I mean, of like hoping that I would be in like way better form than I should be, of course. But yeah,
you wave to the crowd and win, and
yeah, exactly. Like that's what I don't know if you ever do this, but if I run,
I just said I thought I could win Monaco for a second. True. So true. I definitely had a little bit of that. It was a couple of minutes. I was like, oh, yeah, gonna try to win this race.
Yeah. I think it's normal. I imagine probably everyone,
I think it is.
Everyone does it. So, but yeah, I'm not like that stupid. I was like, yeah, that was really good performance considering my training and everything. So I was very happy. And then there was the big question mark over my own personal path to qualifying for Worlds, which I've tried to ignore as much as possible because I fully thought that I had zero chance at qualifying for Worlds for a very long time since my injury. And then it turned out that my other two performances from the end of last year were actually pretty good. So something reasonable at this meet could get me in the mix. And it turns out that the rankings came out just yesterday, and I am sitting in position 40 on the road to Budapest, and 42 make it. So it's going to be
cutting it close.
Yeah, I'm still. So there's, for everyone listening, this week is the final week, and a lot of the European countries, probably some other countries, have their national championships. So a lot of people are racing this week, but it's not typical for like a lot of amazing performances to happen. But with the way the ranking system is now, there are definitely some people who, like, they're going to go for it because they have to if they want any chance of qualifying. Like, they're going to go for it and try run quick to boost their ranking. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm still trying to like mentally not be very invested in it. Like, obviously I really want to go now. I think it'd be amazing to be able to do that, and very like nice unexpected surprise. But yeah, still trying to just be like, whatever. It's out of my control.
It's crazy. We were talking about maybe a couple of months ago, we're like, oh, maybe you'll be into racing by the end of the season, and you just go run road world champs in September. But then we started running the numbers like a few weeks ago, and we're like, actually, like Zagreb was a lot of points back in September or whatever that was.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows you can, running the end of last season was definitely very worthwhile, and it's been funny watching Sam Parsons get a very good summary of his mental state at number 42 currently.
Yeah, that's
2
tough.
spots behind Morgan.
That's tough because you would think that like maybe at least one person will be like good enough to bump themselves up, but then also it's really hard to take into account people that might scratch as well. So it's just, I don't know. And for him, I think he's kind of a lot more invested in it than I am, just in terms of like, I mean, I am very invested in it, but for so long my mental focus has been like next year already. So it's like
probably just had less time thinking about that outcome.
Yeah, and so it's kind of different. I mean, I'm still on the hashtag road to Latvia. I'm still getting pumped up and ready for this road 5K at the end of the season. That's still one of my major goals. So I'm still on that wave as well. But yeah, so we'll see what happens with that, and that'll be, I guess we'll know in about a week, like maybe a bit less than a week. I mean, once the races happen this week, we'll be able to kind of speculate, but we'll know for sure in a week based on everything that happens. So,
and then another week or two to see if people don't do it.
Oh yeah, people have like a week to scratch and stuff.
Joe got a message from Sam saying that he'd name his firstborn child after me.
Yeah, if he scratch.
The joke is that Sam's name is also George. So
it's not, I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
that is pretty good. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, so
it doesn't mean quite as. I'll need his next offer.
If he like paid you money to scratch, would that be like illegal?
We were just talking about that with Ritz last night.
Is that like it's not like match fixing, but
there's got to be like some like a code of conduct.
It's definitely not good.
That's definitely gray area.
Yeah,
for sure.
He would pay you probably a lot of money to do that though. Not that you would accept that money, but
of course not. No.
But just it's a potentially out there. So yeah, we'll see what happens. And then the next day I was on the plane over to Zurich, and now we're all here, St. Moritz, and just getting settled still. It's the jet lag. I'm not someone that is known for traveling very well, so the jet lag and all that has been not very fun. But I'm off to Italy for a few days, a little mini vacation, if you will, as Sinter is racing her Italian national championships 1500. So
Coach Morgan.
And I'm very excited to go to Italy. It has been extremely cold up here in St.
Heat
Moritz.
training is not going well.
Yeah,
currently.
It's literally like 1 to 10 degrees like Celsius. It's like 45, 50 degrees Fahrenheit here, and it's the middle of summer.
It's not warm.
It's not warm at all. And it was so when I was packing, I knew I had the thought like, okay, it's always more cold there than you think, but still I did not pack at all for how cold it is here. I think like just in being in Colorado, I haven't worn any of like my winter style clothes for so long. I forget like how to dress for the winter. I forget like what I like to wear and like how to wear it. So it was just like when I was packing, I was so stressed. I was like, I don't even know what to bring. And now I'm here. I'm like, I wish I had so much different stuff. So
I wish I'd brought a beanie. That was a big mistake. I brought one on the last trip.
Yeah.
Here and didn't need it. And now I didn't bring one on this trip, and it would be really nice.
Mm-hmm. But Ritz banned us from complaining about the cold, I think. He said to me at least, because we've been complaining about it too much. So we're in trouble for that. But it is lovely to be back up here, but just got to get in that routine and stuff, because we're all going to be here for a decent little stint now, like almost a month until Worlds. So
another good 3 weeks, I think.
Yeah, got to get
for us early ones anyway.
In the zone. But yeah, so I'll take a little trip to Italy with Cinta. She's racing the 1500. She also raced the 800 at Sound, and she did pretty well. She ran 2:01. I mean, she definitely wishes that she raced a little different, but man, it's making me think. Imagine if all us guys ran an 800. That'd be crazy.
That'd be pretty fun.
Or 7? Is there 7 of us?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd be sick to line up and do it. I mean, I guess like probably Yard would smoke us. Actually, I mean, Mara's an 800 meter runner as well.
I think Olli could run 145.
I think they could, but think about this. Yard like pretty easily beat Isaiah Harris,
who just made the world team. Yeah,
it's kind of crazy to think about.
That is pretty crazy. Do you think Yard would have made the team?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I think so too.
But Yard's also like the type of person who's like kind of in that like invincible category right now, like with his aura. Like I think if you asked me if he could make the 5K team, I'd say like, yeah, probably. Like he could have. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe he's taken on the mantle of the invincible one on the team at the moment.
Yeah, but I mean that's the reality of being a good 1500 meter runner. Well, it's the reality of being a good any distance runner is that you have to be pretty world class in the events below it and above it to be.
Every distance just starts feeling good.
Yeah, like pretty much. I mean, they're so good, and I guess that's kind of a natural progression into. We'll do a pretty quick recap of London, which was the third
leg of the trifecta.
Yeah, which
just didn't go to plan.
So this was like the first, I think, inkling of how serious Olli's situation was. He had to pull out the day before the meet because I think him and Dathan just like assessed the situation and said, hey, this has been like a bit too bad now. Let's not race on it. Let's like get some imaging and take it easy for a bit. So that was like a massive bummer before the race. And then we were just talking before how like from an overall team's perspective, like we have generally just so much positive stuff to say, but there was actually a bit of disappointment at this one, which I mean, is very much so a part of the sport. Happens Absolutely. To everyone. So it was the highest highs and also some of like I guess the lowest lows in reality. It feels weird to say it, but that's kind of the truth.
The kind of the standard with like everyone on this team has set for themselves that, you know, that is a big disappointment when, you know, that's a pretty big disappointment for Mario, even though he's still running 331 and like it's not a bad race, but for him that's, you know, he wants more than that. And
yeah, this is a guy that's looking at medaling at Worlds, so he never is going to think that he's going to be not fighting like for the win in any 1500 meter he does.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of the reality that he ended up, I think 11th, 331.
I think the guy who came 14th ran 332. So that was just ridiculous.
Just another 1500 in the year of 2023.
Yeah.
It's got to like, I mean, I guess one day we'll look back on it and see the stats, but just the amount of depth this year has been just crazy. Like how
We'll see if this is the norm next year and the year after.
I guess maybe it will be, because to be honest, I think there is a bit of a cycle in the sport where like the year before the Olympics tends to be pretty amazing, and then the Olympic year is always like tends to be the most amazing year. So things might be even more crazy next year. We'll see.
Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, but on the other end of that spectrum in that race was Yared taking home the first OAC win.
I think I manifested that
also
last
Coffee
week.
Club, Track Club.
True.
Win
I feel like I
down
manifested that last week by saying that like it hadn't happened and we were like going for it that weekend. I made that happen.
Take credit for it, man.
Made that happen.
No, take credit for it. You're a big part of that journey for him.
We'll claim it. We'll claim it.
Why not? I mean, it's part of the team. So, I mean, he ran just like a great race for him.
Great yard race. Great positioning.
Yeah.
Great last 50. That's kind of that's what you need in one of those races.
Had to take down Nordas.
Yeah. I was nervous with 50 to go. I was actually nervous about Neil.
Yeah.
Neil has such a good last 100. I honestly thought he was going to take a stab at it.
Yeah, Nordas is amazing, man. He made a big move like at the start of that last lap to go around and gave a bump to Stewie, which we didn't like.
Yeah, that
seemed really unnecessary.
Yeah. Did he just misjudge the lane or something?
My take on just watching it is that he was probably just like running so hard that he kind of lost control. And unfortunately, Stewie was next to him and so got bumped by it, but it didn't look very good.
No.
And then, I don't know what impact that had on Stewie, because Stewie still had a pretty amazing races, like in terms of like coming back from like where he was at the very beginning of the season. So he still did well, but yeah, Yard was able to stick it to them, have that big finish, and then hold off them kind of coming back at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So that was huge. And then
the monsoon, getting it done. I think we talked about it in no, not Oslo. It was Paris.
Yeah, Paris.
Sort of an American record attempt, but I guess they were running 14:05, which was just ridiculous. So this was a better race setup.
I feel that's kind of how it goes sometimes, where based on her training, it was apparent that she was in that form. And then there was a bit of like hype internally, at least. Like, you can break the American record going into that race. And then like, for whatever reason, it didn't happen. And then this time, I don't think there was really as much expectation. And then she goes and crushes it and runs 19, takes down Shell Burrito. So, yeah.
Got the message from Shelby, apparently.
She did get a message from Shelby. So, yeah.
Beer mile world record next. That's what Alicia's going for.
Take it down. I mean, Shelby's been on a tear recently. I don't know if the listeners have been following her escapades across the road. She's like setting like unofficial American records and like, was it the 8K? She ran a crazy like road 8K and maybe a 10K as well.
Yeah.
Just like ridiculous times. So she's fit.
I wonder if she'd reach out to Coffee Club coaching. I mean, it doesn't seem like she needs it, but she might want some direction at some point. Would
we take her on though? It'd be a good media stunt.
It really would.
I don't know if it'd be good like for other reasons, but we'll look into it. I don't know. Sell our souls, I guess. But so Alicia absolutely crushed it. And I mean, the women's 5K, the Diamond League has also just been, every event, but the women's 5K, there's still just like crazy results. Like there's all these women that are running such quick times, and then also they're like closing in like 60, 59 and stuff to do it. So
it's crazy that like Faith and Sergey are like look like the two best 5K runners. They're also the two best 1500 runners.
Yeah, it's like,
which is crazy.
And like Faith is doing the double at Worlds. I wonder, Sergey, is she doing it as well? Probably.
She did last year.
Yeah, so those races are going to be crazy. Unfortunately, Josette didn't have the best race there. She was a bit back, but I think things have been a little tough for her since USA's, and she had a bit of a sore back and stuff. So I think she'll come around pretty good in the next week or so. And then the other one was Sage in the 800, and I think she went out a bit quick, and then I think things just caught up to her a bit in the end. And I mean, she's like in amazing form right now, but she's just had like such a crazy few weeks when you like look back on it. So she's just taking it easy for a bit, and we know that she's going to be back crushing it when she races again, which will be in America in the next month or so. And then she'll do, she's probably already qualified for
I think she has.
the Diamond League final. So she's still got a lot of massive races ahead of her in the season, which she's going to be preparing for now. But yeah, that was London.
The final Diamond League before Worlds.
It's weird because it's like there's such a big gap now. I guess there are some like more like there's the national championships this weekend, and then there's like the next week or two after that there are some more like low-key meets. But yeah, there's a pretty big break now going into Worlds. Everyone's just going to be training up here in St. Moritz together, getting off it.
It's a madhouse up here.
Mm-hmm.
Got kicked out of 2 gyms this morning. So haven't had a great day. Still got to find a gym later this afternoon to
get that pump
make
on
up for it.
Yeah. Saw Jakob yesterday. Or was it yesterday? Yeah, it must have been.
I think we did see. Oh, maybe it was 2 days ago.
2 days ago.
A bunch.
He runs if anyone's wondering, he runs at approximately 11:30 in the morning for his first run.
Really?
Well, that's when we saw him.
And then late.
And then I think 7 p.m. for his second. I don't know I would love to know what his sleep schedule is. He's a very interesting character.
That would be good to know if he sleeps like Africans or not.
Yeah. He's I don't know. I just like to know everything about him. He's amazing.
He's an enigma.
He is, isn't he? And he's running on his own a lot as well.
A lot.
His brothers are, well, Philip at least is here. I saw him this morning as well. So.
Yeah, they wrote themselves.
Fingy, what are we saying? Fingy. I saw Fingy this morning.
Maybe if they're writing each other's training plans, they just don't line up.
They just purposely do it so they don't have to train with each other. That'd be pretty smart, actually. Haven't seen Hingy yet, though. I'm sure he'll make an appearance, though. He's a very important member of the team.
Mm. I have seen Hingy.
Oh, he is here?
Yeah, I saw him a couple of days ago.
Not just the pictures of him up on the wall?
No, I haven't seen that one yet. Haven't admired that.
Yeah, if anyone was wondering, I mean, we talked about this, I remember we talked about this multiple times last year.
Yeah.
I can't remember why, but in the pool that we go to, there's these black and white, really dramatic pictures of
all the Ingies.
All the Ingies. And they look good.
Look down on us.
Yeah. So they look amazing. So is there anything else I feel good about?
No, I'm also looking forward to going to Italy on Saturday, but not for as long. I think we got to work out in the fabled
Kia Venna. You guys are going to Kia Venna. I was so confused for a second. I'm like, wait, are you coming?
Which I haven't been yet down there.
Really?
No.
Wow, I did not know that.
I'm looking forward to a few laps on the track, maybe a lunch.
Yeah, make sure that you have lunch down there. I heard that last time they went or something. I remember Olli was saying they didn't have lunch. What's the point of going down there if you're not going to eat lunch?
Yeah, and I can afford it down there.
Yeah.
So
it's a lot more reasonable. That's
the main thing I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's it. Well, yeah, I think that's it from us for episode 96. Coffee Club Podcast on the road, coming to you from St. Moritz. Next week, I think we'll be back with Olli. We'll see what happens. It's going to be everything is in limbo right now. But no, I'm sure he'll be back very, very soon. But yeah, thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you guys all next week.